Hi, I'm joined here with Bōde CEO Robert Price to chat a little bit about what's going on in the real estate marketplace in June of 2022. These are exciting and interesting times. Rob, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've seen in Edmonton, of course, interest rates have gone up 3 or 4 times in the last handful of months. And that, of course, is the desired effect of reducing inflation and keeping prices, which you've seen grow like crazy over the last 2 years in a variety of industries, from going any higher. And it is having that effect. What's kind of more interesting, though, is looking at the re-urbanization. If you look at property types, often people talk very holistically about the real estate market, but in reality, it is broken into these very different property segments that perform differently based on the circumstances. So detached properties over the last 2 years have been growing like crazy, where on the apartment side hasn't been the same, has been slower because of the COVID-induced behavior change of wanting to get out of the main core and get a house with that you can work in with a big yard and manage your kids and all the things that we've all been through. So that trend is now reversing with COVID, especially in Alberta, having been more or less, we're back to normal, having that go on for a number of months. We're seeing the data show that people are really moving back to the center of the city, much more than moving out of the city. So that migration is happening. It's really fascinating to watch. And the property type tells you that story.
The change in the interest rates was really meant to have a big effect on the biggest markets in Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, ending the frenzy that was occurring in real estate there. How has it impacted prices in Edmonton, though, given that that was not necessarily the focus of these changes, but perhaps there's been a pretty big impact there?
Yeah, they've leveled off a little bit. Still up if you look at over the last couple years, and still very healthy on the demand side, at least for June. We expect, though, with the cooling effect of the interest rates, that to probably continue in terms of the demand falling versus the average of the last 4 years. But overall, you just take June in isolation, it's still a very good month of supply and demand in the Edmonton market.
Now, if you're selling a house in Edmonton right now and also buying a house, tell us a little bit about what that picture looks like for a person who's both buying and selling at the same time.
Yeah, it's an important question. What are you actually doing with your family? Where are you planning to go? Because if you're moving from Calgary to Vancouver, or Edmonton, Vancouver, I should say, that's quite a different equation than I'm staying in Edmonton. So selling and buying in the same market has quite a different effect than selling high and buying into, let's say, a lower market, based on whatever's going on. So really good and really important to look at exactly what's going on with your property in Edmonton, the one you have right now, the one you're planning to buy, and looking at the pricing dynamics of both of those. On a macro scale, they're likely going to be in a similar spot unless they're different property types, in which case we're back into this other conversation of what's happening with the pricing pressures on both sides. So it's a really interesting question, and one you can only really answer if you're looking right at the property itself.
Now, of course, we are here to provide that transparent data to home buyers and home sellers so they can make the decisions that are right for them. So we do a deep dive into the what's actually happening in Edmonton. So check out our full report here, but also do the analysis on the markets within the markets, the neighborhoods within Edmonton, to find out where the opportunities are at. And if you're both buying and selling, it sounds a lot like that you're going to be in a good spot. So check out more details right here. Thanks, Rob.